Good afternoon. I'm Mindy Curtis. Thanks for joining us for Wasatch Theater Company's production of Teacher Truths by Jim Martin. Please keep your microphone and cameras off for the entirety of the performance. If you turn on your microphone during the performance, you will be muted. The chat will be monitored. Please use courteous and appropriate language when communicating with other members of the audience. We recommend the best view in Zoom for viewing this production is Speaker View, which you can select in the upper right-hand corner of your screen. You may applaud after the show is finished by clapping or waving for the audience, and you may turn your camera on at that time. Failure to abide by these rules may result in removal from the performance. This show is live and is approximately an hour and 15 minutes long with no intermission. There will be a talkback after today's performance if you would like to stay and join us 5 minutes after the show. The following is Jim Martin's playwright note for this script. The following play is mostly composed of monologues, an amalgamation of truths that I have heard through my 24-year history as a professional educator. I think there is much we can learn from listening to the words and voices of teachers. My hope is that this piece serves as a conversation piece. The teachers profiled here are neither right nor wrong. They just are. And that's the key behind the title of this play. The truth of teaching is sometimes ugly and unpleasant, and we need to face it to begin reforming education so it meets the needs of all students.
I have always wanted to be a teacher.
I'd set up my bedroom full of stuffed animals. I had one of those chalkboard easels, and I'd teach.
I never wanted to be anything else.
This is one of the most rewarding professions. No, the most rewarding profession.
The pay doesn't even matter.
I like when the kids give me cards of admiration.
It's a good kind of exhaustion, you know?
My classroom is my kingdom.
I was that straight A student, the teacher's pet.
My aunt was a teacher and my uncle was a teacher. I went to the graduation ceremony for my aunt's master's degree. It's gonna be me one day, my 8-year-old self thought.
I would play school like that for hours.
I had a crush on my 4th grade teacher.
There's nothing like the feeling of a light bulb moment. You know, when a kid has been struggling and then they finally get it. That is so powerful.
Those who can, teach.
I have a whole bulletin board full of things that kids have made for me.
It kind of never turns off, which gets a bit annoying to my family.
I can just close my door and teach. No matter how bad the world gets, my classroom represents the good of the world. That good is still possible.
I sat right up front, right next to the teacher.
And then 10 years later, I was walking through the doors of the same institution where I would become a teacher.
Other kids were outside riding bikes or whatever other kids were doing. I was holed up in my room with my teacher's manuals, copying the movements of my favorite teachers.
She wore this lotion. It kind of smelled like corn. That's weird, isn't it? But it's true. I thought she smelled delicious.
I loved everything about school. The smell of the books, the sharpened pencils, the sound of chalk on a chalkboard. Remember when they had chalkboards? I loved chalkboards.
There's a game that people play, 6 degrees of Kevin Bacon. I say poo to that. Should be 6 degrees of teachers. We connect the world in, the most intricate of ways. Of all the professions in the world, all the people, rich, poor, black, white, they're all tied to their teachers. We shape the world, person by person. Never said that out loud before. Get all tingly just thinking about it.
By now, I have a whole chest full of things that kids have made for me over the years. I like to look back on them from time to time.
If we go to a store or restaurant, I inevitably see something I can use in my classroom. Do you know how many things a teacher can do with a straw?
Some kids are so young. They don't call me by my name, they call me teacher. This irritates some educators, but not me. I feel honored to be called teacher.
I was always the first to raise my hand. It annoyed me if my teacher didn't recognize me. I mean, I get it. She felt like she had the call on some of the other kids, but as a 9-year-old, I would wave my arm in the air like this, to get her attention. Teacher! Teacher!
We are teachers.
Can you hear me okay? I might not have the greatest connection. Let me know if I cut out. You're probably looking for something inspirational, right? How I change the world, how I lift students up, how I make a difference. You've seen the movies, Freedom Writers, Dangerous Minds, Lean on Me. Lean on Me was actually one of my favorites. I wanted Joe Clark to be my principal. I especially like the part where he finds the delinquents in the bathroom. They have a different version of the school song. And it seems like Mr. Clark is going to bust them and their teacher for changing the school song. Instead, he embraces it. He was tough on the outside, but on the inside, wow. That was the image I brought with me to my first year of teaching. Tough but caring, ready to take on even the most challenging student. Convince them to learn in spite of themselves. Oh, did I mention Dead Poets Society? That was actually my absolute favorite. I wanted to inspire students the way Robin Williams inspired them. I wanted them to stand up on their desks in enthusiasm. Oh, Captain, my Captain. I'm sorry. I have to be honest. I have to tell the truth, my truth. Tomorrow's my last day of teaching. I'm quitting. God, I hate that word. I'm not quitting exactly. I can see the writing on the wall, and I'm not gonna stick around and be humiliated. I've been doing this for 7 years. My first year was hell, but all teachers' first year is hellish, right? You have to expect it. It's almost expected. You just have to hang on. Then year 2 came, and I vowed I would not make the same mistakes as year 1. I wasn't going to smile until November. I wasn't going to try and be their friends. They don't need another friend. They need a teacher. Please sit down, Mia. No. Come do your work, Fernando. Fuck you, bitch. Can I please have everyone's attention? Please? Please help me. I need help. I needed help. I needed someone to swoop in and save me from the kids and from myself. I curse them. I curse their parents, not to their face, of course, but on the long drive home every day, I would curse them and everything about them. And I would eat candy, sweets. I would cry and hope that tomorrow would somehow be different. I try something new. It would work this time. You got this, Janessa. I didn't have it. I never had it. I was not meant to be a teacher. I was not meant to be that kind of teacher. That kind of teacher is only made in the movies.
Hey, how's it going? I'm Mr. Burns. You can call me Tom. Tom Burns. Is the lighting okay? You gotta have just the right angle on these things. You look like you got 6 chins. They told me to tell you about teaching, but I guess this isn't supposed to be the average talk. I'm supposed to be honest. My folks told me not to go into teaching. Why would you want to do that? Dad said. Be an engineer. No, be a dentist. Dentists make a lot of money. I don't want to be a dentist, I said. I don't like mouths. They smell. Do you want to be poor? You want to be able to support a family. There's more to a job than money, Mom. She said, of course there is, honey. Maybe your wife want to work too. Then things will be okay. Dad laughed. Maybe. You'll marry a woman who'll actually make some money. Oh, that'll be great. Your wife supporting you? Wearing the pants? I decided to go into teaching anyway. I don't know why I wanted to be a teacher. I always did. I just knew. Family dinners, not just Mom and Dad, but the whole family. Someone would inevitably ask me what I wanted to do. What was I studying in school? Teaching, I'd say, but without conviction. Because I knew Dad and Mom were looking at their hands. I knew they weren't smiling proudly. They wished I would lie, I think. You're not supposed to lie. But I think Mom and Dad would have found that preferable to the truth. Uncle Ted tried to lighten the mood. Oh, there'll be lots of girls in education. Makes finding a wife easier. Somehow, using teaching as a way to get into some girls' pants didn't make me feel better. Uncle Ted was right. I was the only guy in most of my classes. I didn't mind. I relate pretty well with women. I got through school. We didn't talk much about teaching. At home, I shared a little. Mom and Dad asked very little. Then I graduated. I got a job right away. Honestly, I think it was because I am a man. They like men in elementary education because there aren't that many. When I told Dad and Mom I got a job, they were happy, kind of. And then I told them that I was teaching first grade. First grade? Are you sure about that, honey? You don't want them to think, what? I said, I don't want them to think that I teach first grade. They're going to think you're weird, Dad said. Weird. He didn't need to elaborate. I knew what he meant. I really like teaching. I really like teaching first grade. The kids really learn a lot in that year, you know? They love learning, and I'm part of that. Does that make sense? I'm sure some people have wondered about me. No one says anything. A few times, parents have complained about me to the principal. One parent wanted a new first grade teacher. I wondered if it had to do with my gender. I wear a ring right here. It looks like a wedding ring on purpose. Guys wear a ring. It takes away some of the suspicion if they think you're married. It calms people. It's kind of strange. I mean, pedophiles sometimes get married, don't they? Like I said, I really like teaching. It's never boring, and I think I'm really good at it. My principal says I'm doing great. I feel a lot of pride in my work. Sometimes you never know that you're making a difference. You show up to work, punch a time clock, type a memo in an email, go to a few meetings, and maybe you'll never know. But I know. I know every day that I make a difference. I can see it right there in front of me. I just wish I didn't have to be so afraid. You know?
I'm Gloria. I'm a teacher. Will my principal see this? Okay. Okay. I have a lot of thoughts about what would help education, what would help me. My kids are naughty. Well, not all the kids, of course. Most of them are so sweet, but some of them, oh my God. I try a lot of things. The coach tells me I should do a lot of things. Most of them I've already tried. She says to build relationships with the kids. So I talk to the naughty ones. What do you like? Who's in your family? Do you cause your mama the same kind of headache you cause me? The last one was a joke. I'd never really say that to a child. Just under my breath. Sometimes I have to confess about some of the things I say to the kids under my breath. God forgive me.
Gloria, you need to calm down.
What do you mean?
Your face, it's all pinched up, like you're worried, stressed.
I am worried. I'm worried about Muhammad and Francine and Julio. I'm waiting for the other shoe to drop. Always.
Well, the kids are picking up on your stress and they're becoming more stressed because you're stressed.
Okay, so what can I do?
Mask your stress. I have an idea. Are you game?
I guess.
I will put this device in your ear, something that you can listen to while you're teaching. And every time your face gets that pinched look, yeah, that's the one, I will remind you to relax.
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 Relax. Relax. Now, besides having to teach fractions and collective nouns, I have to mask my stress. Maybe I can smile more. I called Muhammad's parents. Well, his mom. He doesn't have a dad, at least not one at home. I went to go visit the family one day, to build that relationship. There are so many kids in the family. Little ones, big ones. Mom yelled at Muhammad while I was there. She started screaming at him. "Why don't you behave?" she yelled. He cowered. He was obviously afraid of her. She told me I needed to be harder on him. She talked about her experience in schools. The kids got whipped by the teacher. I don't think she understands our system now. My visit helped a little. Muhammad was good for a day or two. I mean, relatively speaking. But he slowly went back to the same old habits. Sometimes I threaten to call his mom. He gets real serious and good for a minute. I don't think he can maintain it. He really can't help it. You're probably wondering why I don't send him to the principal's office. I remember kids being sent to the principal's office a lot when I was a kid in school. That fear kept me from misbehaving, I tell you. Now, though, that's not really an option. Not if you want to be seen as competent.
You sent Mohammed to me today.
I did.
I didn't see a referral in our system.
I didn't have time to write it up.
Okay. Remember what we talked about at the beginning of the year? I need a referral to process discipline problems.
Process? We're talking kids here.
I know what we're talking about, Miss Anderson. Did you follow the protocol?
I think so. I gave him a think sheet.
Did you give him the think sheet first or second?
He ripped it up. He wouldn't complete it.
And then what?
I'm not sure. I think
Okay, he tore up the think sheet. What did you do next?
I sent him to the office.
That's not the protocol. Do you have the flow chart?
Yes, I do. It's right here.
I can get you a new one.
No, I have it. I just saw it.
Okay. So the next step in the flow chart after the think sheet is to send the student to the buddy room. Who's your buddy classroom?
Mr. Carter.
If you could find that protocol.
Oh, here it is. Here it is. I knew I had it.
Great. All right, now see here. It says a think sheet is followed by your buddy classroom, and your buddy classroom is not supposed to be at your grade level.
That's right. You're right. I forgot. There's so much to remember.
So find somebody not at your grade level to be your buddy classroom.
Okay, I will.
All right. Now see here. Office referral is way down here. There's still a few more steps you should have followed before sending Mohammed to see me.
I see.
Do you have any feedback?
Well, not really. I'm sorry I didn't follow the process.
Thanks, Miss Anderson. Maybe you could put it up somewhere, someplace you can refer to it easier.
I'll put it up by my desk. Thanks for the tip.
Thanks, Miss Anderson. I know this is hard work. You're doing great. You're doing great things with Mohammed. He's a tough one.
He is. What is happening with Mohammed?
Well, he came into my office pretty charged up. We should really discuss ways to de-escalate him when he gets to that point, that point of ripping papers.
And throwing desks.
He threw a desk?
No, not this time.
That's good. That's good. He's making progress. You really are doing great things with him.
Thanks.
So as I was saying, he came into my office pretty amped up. So I had him rub my pillow and blow some bubbles.
Bubbles?
Yes. Research shows that for trauma kids like Mohammed, blowing bubbles helps him hone his breathing technique.
Did he make the connection?
Sorry?
Did he make the connection between bubbles and breathing?
I think we can use it. The next time Mohammed escalates, try having him blow some bubbles like you did in Dr. Gardner's office. Maybe that'll help him calm down.
Maybe. I'm willing to try.
Great. Thank you. And have a great night.
I hope he doesn't tell anyone that he has kids rub his pillow. It sounds so wrong. You see, I have opinions. I think those bubbles are stupid. I think that textured pillow is a bunch of bogey. Did you notice the way he used the word let's? As if this is something we will do together. I never feel so alone as I do at work. I have a class full of 4th graders and I feel incredibly alone. I have opinions, but I could never be honest. No one really wants to hear my opinions anyway. If I say I disagree, people think I'm being negative. If I say I want to try something else and some research study that no one can actually cite gets shoved down my throat. Sorry, God, I'm sorry. I'm not usually this fiery. Usually I'm very calm and collected. You would never see this kind of emotion in a faculty meeting, in a PLC. Have you ever heard of a PLC? It stands for Professional Learning Council. Yeah, I think so. Actually, wait a minute. The C stands for community. Yeah, Professional Learning Community. Anyway, it's when the teachers get together to talk about their kids. But we're not really expected to be honest. Otherwise, the coach will say that we're blaming the kids, that we're not assuming responsibility. So I nod. I nod and agree. I'll find a new buddy classroom. I'll mask my stress. I'll remind Mohammed to blow imaginary bubbles so that he remembers to breathe instead of overturning his desk. I will comply. That's my job, to comply.
So you just want me to teach. Is there anything specific you want to see? Okay. You know it's not the real thing, right? Just an approximation, not the real thing. Oh, hello! How are you? What's that, Lizzie? I can't hear you. You're on mute. Mute. There you go. Uh-huh. Oh. Oh, honey, I am so sorry to hear that. I'm going to give you an air hug. That's so hard. Does anyone else have some good news? Elijah, go ahead. Oh, honey, I'm sorry. You're going to have to say that again. You're on mute. It's the button in the bottom corner of your screen. There you go. Uh-huh. Mm-hmm. Oh, my. Does anyone else have some good news? Oh, okay. Clearly there is a lot going on. Let's just get into our lesson, shall we? Today we are going to be reading another chapter of Frog and Toad. Does everyone have their books? What's that, Alexis? You lost your book? Okay. You too, Freddie. If you have your book, hold it in front of your face. Uh-huh, just like that. Only 5 of you have your book. Okay. You all are going to have to look really hard for your books. In the meantime, you're going to have to listen as I read out loud. Turn to page 27 if you have your book. Toad and Frog went for a long walk. They walked across a large meadow. They walked into the woods. They walked along a river. At last, they made it to Toad's house. "Oh, Dart," said Toad. "Not only do my feet hurt, but I have lost the button on my jacket." Okay, boys and girls, how do you think Frog and Toad are feeling on this page? Oh, what's that, Bernice? Your feet hurt. I am sorry to hear that, but we have to stay focused on the story. How do you think Frog and Toad are feeling when they go back to Toad's house? Oh, Candace, go ahead. Uh-huh. Yeah! Does anyone agree or disagree with what Candace said? Alexis, where are you going? Okay, hurry back. Let's read on, shall we? Turn the page. Yes, honey, I know you don't have your book. I know you don't have your book either. I appreciate those who are taking very good care of their books. Turn the page if you have your book. Don't worry, said Frog. We'll go back to all the places we walked before. We will soon find your button. They walked into the large... Franklin, would you mind sitting up, please? I can't see your cute face anymore. Thank you, dear. Oh, Maria, remember we must put our toys away during the lesson. I understand you're trying to act out Frog and Toad. That is a very good idea for later, after the lesson. Put away your toys for now. Yes, that is a very cute Barbie. Oh no, I can't see everybody's Barbie right now. We have to finish the story. Now where were we? Yes. They walked back into the large meadow. They began to look for Toad's button in the tall grass. Here's your button, cried Frog. That's not my button. Clearly, we're going to have to go over the rules again, class. I like how most of you have kept your cameras on. Thank you. Thank you. Emilio, I'm waiting. It doesn't matter if your hair isn't combed. It doesn't matter if your teeth aren't brushed. Maybe you should wake up earlier. All right, let's move on. Read the rest of the chapter. Find your book if you lost your book so you can find out what happens to Toad's button. Can anyone predict? What's that, Zarya? You're on mute. You're on mute. There you go. Uh-huh. I don't know if I can agree with that prediction, Zarya. It seems far-fetched that aliens would have come and stolen Toad's button. Oh, far-fetched means something that probably wouldn't happen. I can't imagine aliens in this story, can you? What? That's a good argument, Zarya. If Frog and Toad can talk, an alien could have stolen Toad's button. All right. Has anyone seen Simon today? He's on vacation? Okay. What about Alexis? Has anyone seen Alexis? Oh, she is here. Okay, thank you. And Princess. Has anyone seen Princess today? She hasn't been with us for our last few sessions. I guess I'll have to give her a call. What about Marcus? Has anyone seen Marcus? He moved. I hope he brought his Chromebook back to school. Oh, what's that, Lizzie? I miss you too. I don't know when we'll be coming back to school. Oh, Lizzie, honey, don't cry. We'll be back in school soon. No, probably not tomorrow. Oh no, now Elijah's crying too. Maybe we should just say goodbye for today. I want you all to write in your journals about how you're feeling, and we can share them tomorrow, okay? Oh, so many tears. I miss you too. Oh, I love you. Bye. I'm like a novice teacher. That was horrible. How can I give my students what they need from so far away? They're only 7. They need each other. They need their teacher.
Do you want the truth or do you want something inspirational? I think that's what most people want to hear. You know, they want to hear about how I changed a child's life or how I got him up 2 grade levels by the end of the year. I'd love to tell that story too. Most of the time I just Just drive home feeling like shit. Pardon my French. You see, I teach special ed kids. Shit. Sorry, I'm trying to work on that. We're trying to use people first language, avoid labels. So the kids are in special education or receiving special education services, but they're not special ed. It's going to be hard for me. There's so many more words in people first language. Anyways, I've been a teacher for 30 years and I can't afford to retire. My financial consultant says I need to work another 10 to 15 more years or I might run out of money in retirement. But I have got to tell you, I am more than a bit burnt. You see, in the 30 years that I've been teaching, things have just gotten harder and harder. And no, it's not the kids. No, the kids is kids. It's the paperwork. Jesus, the paperwork is ridiculous. The IEPs, the reports, the paperwork required by the principal. I am drowning in paperwork. And then there are the meetings. You know, I think to myself, do I have any time this week just to plan, where I'm not writing an IEP or testing a kid being considered for special education placement? Ha ha! I remembered. That's good. Anyways, yeah, I have these meetings. There's this one meeting called the Student Services Committee. I sit on that meeting because I'm special ed. The teachers bring their kids in that they've got concerns about, and we discuss any interventions that they've tried and if those interventions work. Because if those interventions don't work, that might constitute a need for special ed. Yeah, I sit on that meeting. And then we have IEPs before and after school. I try to get them done during the day, but that's really hard to do. You see, the administrator's usually super busy with disciplines and observations, and we need a general ed teacher for the IEPs, and they're usually teaching during the day, so they're usually not available. And don't even get me started on the parents. You see, they work too, so a lot of times we have to schedule meetings after school, and that can make for some very late nights. Did I mention PBIS? PBIS stands for positive behavior. We all get together and we talk about ways to help kids be more successful. But that's harder to do with high school kids. You see, teenagers are just harder to please. With elementary school kids, you can just give them a trinket, but that doesn't work for high school kids. No, the rewards need to be more expensive to get their attention. Then there's faculty meetings twice a month. These happen before school, and most of that information is just shit that the principal could just put into a memo. And you want to know the real kicker? I come back to school and they tell me not only do I have to teach the kids that want to be taught in class, but I also have to teach the kids that want it all done in the virtual. Heaven forbid they ask my goddamn opinion on the matter. Yeah, I'm 55 and high risk, but they don't give a shit about that. No, now I've got to handle this plus all my other responsibilities. When I'm not teaching a small classroom in class, I'm teaching a small group online. I'm working with another teacher, usually language arts or math. It helps the kids be with their non-disabled peers. It helps the kids be with their peers without a disablement. I'm going to get that one day. I promise. And then from time to time, there's these events that the administrators suggest that they want you to attend. Sure, you don't have to go, but again, I've been doing this for 30 years, and I know that a suggested event is really something that you have to go to, and if you don't, you're gonna end up on your boss's shit list, if you know what I mean. I'm tired. I've got more work to do and no more time to do it in. You know those IEPs? That's a part of my professional development, or responsibility. You know, because of that, I don't get any extra pay. I don't think I can make it another 15 years. I don't think I can make it another 5. I want to have a good life when I retire. I just hope I live long enough to see retirement.
Do you mind if I keep my camera off? I do not look my best today. Okay. Is this okay? Ugh. You promise no one will see me like this. I have a reputation to uphold. On second thought, no, I don't. I could have been an actress, you know? I was in school to be one. Rubbed shoulders with Rachel Bloom, Jack Falahy, Tina Huang. I was an extra in movies. Some of the crew told me they thought I could be somebody, that I had a spark. But it just wasn't for me. The pressure, the ugliness, yes, ugliness. Among all those pretty people, there was a lot of ugliness. I just didn't know who I could trust. I had a roommate, someone I did trust. Her name was Evelyn. I didn't think we were the same type. I mean, I didn't see her as competition. Not because she wasn't talented. Hell no, she had so much talent, way more than me. I looked up to her. I had no idea she saw things differently. Oh, and the insecurities. The insecurities were crazy. And that's what it was with Evelyn. She was crazy insecure. She was beautiful, but she always worried she was too fat and too ugly. I tried to reassure her. I think she thought it was part of some plan that I had. She stabbed me in the back, started telling some of the directors and crew members that I was difficult, that I was hard to work with. She told people I tried to steal her boyfriend. She told people I stole some of her things, some of her clothes. You know, it's funny. She let me borrow one of her blouses, and then when people saw me in it, she said, "Do you see her wearing my blouse? She stole that from me." And they believed her. I have no idea why. Maybe because she was actively trying to destroy me, and I wasn't trying to destroy anyone. I didn't fit in, which made me different, which made me a target. So I dropped out, just like that. Everything I'd been working towards, over. I had to do something. I didn't want to work at McDonald's. Not that there's anything against McDonald's workers. I just didn't want to be one. I looked into a lot of things. I decided to teach. Something about teaching appealed to me, sort of like performing. I could be the master of my own little stage, producer, director, and actor all rolled into one. And with less of the ugliness, right? I teach theater to middle schoolers. I tend to get a little passionate. Well, I call it passionate. One of my colleagues called it yelling. I told her she did not understand the world of theater. I didn't mean to transfer all of the anger, all of the nastiness of the acting world into my middle school, but I love performing. It's my passion. I don't recommend that people teach their passion. The kids don't take it seriously like I did. They think it's about being famous. They have notions of being famous. I tell them that's not what it's about. It's about the craft. It's about honoring the craft, learning the discipline. Middle schoolers just want to pinch each other's asses. Oh, this happened today. Listen to this. I was teaching a lesson about a Shakespearean sonnet, how you don't pause at the end of every line, but keep the flow. Pay attention to the punctuation, but keep the flow. It's a good lesson. The student got up to use the bathroom. I said, "Wait a minute, what's going on?" "I gotta piss." "Okay, can it wait? I'm right in the middle of a lesson." Yeah, teacher, I'll be right back." And then he trips. Only he doesn't really trip. He fake trips and flies across the front of the room. Only it's not a fast fall. It's like in slow motion. He wails as he staggers in front of me, supposedly trying to regain his balance. The kids are laughing hysterically, like this is the funniest Noel Coward they've ever seen. And then he lands. He groans. The kids are laughing. I stand there and stare. Isn't anyone gonna help me up? The kids are still laughing and I don't get it. I lost it. What's so funny? I said. This kid. He stands up gingerly. Yeah, he says, what's so funny? I could have broken my bone. Ugh. At this, they laugh even harder. Something about the word bone and middle schoolers is hilarious. Stop laughing, I said. This made them laugh even more. What's so funny about that? I could do it too. And I imitate the move made by this kid. The slow motion flailing and eventual fall. Only I take it to the next level. Save me, save me. My IQ is so low, I can't get up. The kids are laughing hysterically, but not the pisser. That kid is frozen, like he's shocked at my scene. I stand up, the laughing subsides. Pisser stares at me, I stare at him. He looks like he's about to cry or spit. And then he left. Open up your theater history books, I announced. Turn to page 85, read on your own, and answer the questions at the end of the chapter. I'd left it all out there on the stage. I felt exhausted.
I didn't mean to cheat. I kind of didn't know I was. I took the ethics course, but we take a lot of stuff as teachers. Well, we get a lot of stuff handed to us, stuff that we have to remember. Yeah, it was May, the end of the year test. I don't know if you've been following in the news, but we have these tests at the end of the year. They are a serious big deal. Like, a ton of money goes into them. The kids are supposed to show at least a year's worth of progress. Although I'm never entirely sure exactly how they measure that, because I'm teaching totally new clients like every year. In any case, people go nuts during testing time. The principal goes nuts. The other teachers, they go nuts. And there are tears, mostly from adults. The kids can't help but feel some of the stress. Like, sometimes you gotta bribe them, like, just to keep them going. Like I will buy you pizza if you do your best on this test. We even feed them peppermints. Someone read that a peppermint is supposed to improve brain power. Another teacher lets her students chew gum because that is supposed to help them perform better. No, my students were prepared. I mean, I did a lot to get them prepared. On the day of the test, I think we were doing the maths. I told my students to fold up their scratch paper, just like we do for all tests. I told them to work every single problem on the scratch paper, like one per box. The students understood what I meant. We've done that a million times. Yeah, I also instructed them to create a multiplication chart on their papers. The kids can do the harder math. It's just that some of them don't know all of their basic facts. Don't get me started on basic facts. Someone read that it is bad for kids to memorize their basic facts. So we don't emphasize basic facts anymore. Some researcher said that. So I help the students to create a multiplication chart on their papers so that they can do the harder multiplication and division. My kids did well. Yeah, they did better than well. I got a $4,000 bonus from the district because of how much progress my kids made. And again, I have no idea how they can tell, but I really appreciated the award. Teachers would ask me, how did you do it? I don't know. I plan my lessons. I teach them. Like, isn't that what we all do? Some teachers said that I got all the high kids. I don't think that's true. A lot of my kids struggle. You know, I was working with a group of kids every single week that were reading at a second grade reading level. Teachers would ask me, what did I do? But you can tell when somebody is really asking you and wants to know, right? Like, you can tell when someone is honestly asking you or when they're challenging you. And in most cases, it felt like a challenge. So I just shrugged it off. Yeah, must have gotten lucky, I guess. I took my own kiddos to Disneyland with the money that I earned. They had a great time. Yeah, so did I. I hadn't been to Disneyland since I was a kid, so. And then school started back up again in the fall, and I got a call to go down to the principal's office. And beside the principal, there was this other woman, very formal looking. I don't remember her name or her title because my head was spinning. Hi, what's going on? I said.
It has come to our attention that some of your practices in the most recent testing cycle may not have adhered to our state testing ethics standards.
Huh? That was a lot of words. I teach fifth graders.
Did you instruct your students to fold their scratch paper before testing?
I'm sorry, could you repeat that? What was that?
Did you instruct your students to fold their scratch paper a certain way before testing?
Oh yeah, I gave them scratch paper and like I told them to fold it the way that we always do for tests.
Did you tell them to create a multiplication chart on the scratch paper?
I did. That's what, you know, I always do. That's what they always do.
Okay, how about the math word wall? Was it covered or taken down during the test?
Honestly, I don't remember. I took down almost everything in my classroom. I took down everything that I thought could help the kids. The math word wall, I don't remember.
Mr. Thompson, it seems you have violated testing ethics outlined in Code 503 25677521. You were given this code at the beginning of the year and signed off that you understood it.
Wait, what? I don't remember it saying anywhere in there that I couldn't give the kids scratch paper. I thought that was legal.
It's very appropriate to give them scratch paper. It is not appropriate to give them instruction as to how to use it.
They knew how to use it. Okay, so what happens now?
You will be placed on administrative leave with pay.
Oh my God.
Be allowed in the building until this matter is cleared up.
Wait, what about my kids?
They'll have a long-term sub until this matter is resolved.
So, I wait. For what?
You will have a hearing in front of the State Ethics Committee. You will present a case. They will want to hear from you and witnesses.
Witnesses?
They'll want to hear from your students and from other teachers.
Okay. Please do not get my kids involved in the middle of this. That's awful. They didn't do anything. And the other teachers, they're going to say that I cheated. They are already suspicious of everything that I do.
You'll be notified of the date of your hearing. It will take place in about 9 weeks.
9 weeks. I have to be out for... I turned to my principal. This guy who had been an ardent supporter of mine. He didn't say anything. Yeah, he just sat there chewing on his finger. Are you really not going to say anything? I said. You know that I didn't do anything wrong. Like, you've seen me teach. You know that I'm a good teacher. And with that, the meeting ended. I spent the next 9 weeks at home. At first, I got ready to go to work every day, just like I was going to work. I would drive around and I'd take my kids to school, and then I just keep driving, not really sure of what to do or where to go. My wife knew, of course, but I just couldn't bear to tell my kids. My son is a middle schooler, and he would ask me, "Hey, Dad, how was work today?" And I'd lie to him, and I'd say, "It was good. Busy, nothing really special," which was completely unusual for me because normally I love to talk about my job. Yeah, I think my son suspected something. And then finally, I couldn't keep it a secret any longer. I told my kids that I had been accused of cheating and that I couldn't go back to work until the matter had been resolved. They were really quiet. I just didn't want them to think less of me, you know? My daughter perked up first and she said, "It's okay. We know that you're an amazing teacher and we love you." And she gave me this hug. It just filled me up so much. My son was quiet for a few more seconds. And then he said, "This is ridiculous. I think those other teachers, they're just jealous of how great you are. Yeah, you know what? I think you need to quit. Go in, quit, and then on your way out, just yell, 'Lights out, bitches!'" I laughed with my kids for a couple of minutes. It was really healing. Gave me some of my strength back. And I realized that I wasn't going to go in like an apology on legs because I didn't do anything wrong. No. I was going to go in there and I was going to defend my actions and my teaching. I am not a cheater.
The video is excruciating. They just keep showing it over and over again. I know the young man in those videos. I knew him. Pablo came to my class as an angry kid. He didn't want to be there and he challenged me to like him. And I did more than that. I fell in love with him. I initially made Pablo my project. I decided I would get to him where the other teachers hadn't. Of course, I had heard all of the complaints in the faculty room. Watch out for Paulo. I've got Paulo duty this year. Everybody has to take a turn. I decided I would find a way in. So I visited his family, his home. His mom didn't want me there at first. I told her I was on her side. I wasn't there to judge, but to support. And I think speaking my broken Spanish helped. When I arrived that Thursday afternoon, I was greeted with the most delicious smell. And they ushered me into the table, and I was served some of the most delicious homemade pozole I have ever tasted. I learned that Paulo's mom loved him very much, and his older sister. Paulo was the baby of the family. his mom knew that he had behavior issues. She would remind him to make better choices. I told her that I thought Paulo was a delight, and he lit up my classroom every time he came in. Really? She hadn't heard anything positive about Paulo in his 9-year schooling career. And I remember Paulo just beamed. From then on, Paulo would do anything I asked him. This wasn't always true of his other teachers, where he would swear and refuse to do work and flip off the other students and the teacher. And that's when he even bothered to show up at all. Most days he would find some neighboring kids. They'd go to the park and get high on weed. But he never missed my class. He was always on time. He was the first to volunteer if I needed a box lifted or a note taken to the office. And let me tell you, Paulo was smart. He could talk about racism in books like Lord of the Flies that defied his teenage years. He spoke of a deep understanding that only someone who has lived the looks and differential treatment could articulate. And boy, could he argue with the other students. He would stand his ground and not back down. And maybe it's that stubbornness that led to his death. Why couldn't they have tased him? Why couldn't they have shot him in the leg? Why did it take 9 shots to the back? He had a gun. He pointed a gun at police. That's what they say anyway. I don't know. I can't imagine Paulo hurting anyone. I just keep seeing a kid sitting next to his mom, eating homemade pozole, and talking about his potential. I worked so hard. I argued with the other teachers. I argued with the principal. He should not be sent to an alternative school. He has way too much potential for that. Not everyone is like you. What is that supposed to mean? But I was able to wax and wane long enough for him to stay until the end of his 8th grade year. But I knew that his high school wouldn't put in half as much effort as I did. I called the counselor and she begged her to take Paulo under her wing. And do you know what she said? I don't have time for that. If I had a nickel for every sob story I've heard, I could early retire. I cried myself to sleep so many nights. I prayed to a God I don't believe in that Paulo would make it. I kept in contact. It was probably unprofessional, but I followed him on Instagram and would send him encouraging messages. He ended up at that alternative high school and dropped out before graduating. But he kept in touch. He would mow my lawn during summer months and I'd give him extra money. But eventually our contacts became fewer and further between. But I thought about Paulo every day, every time a challenging student walked into my classroom. I don't think of them as projects anymore. They are mine, each and every one of them. I hadn't heard from Paulo in over a year when I saw the news report. Man, a 20-year-old was caught stealing things out of cars, and when approached by police officers, he ran. I've started wondering if it'd be easier for me to care less, if I could just turn off my emotions like some of my colleagues do. I'm not obligated to care, right? I just have to teach.
My name is Denise, and I am happy to talk to you. But I have to be careful.
I didn't lose my license. They basically gave me a written reprimand and sent me back to the classroom. I mostly just stay to myself now. I don't trust my colleagues, and I never share what I'm doing. All those recognitions that I received stopped. And that's okay. I don't need to be noticed.
I'm afraid to start school. Yes, it would be better for the kids to be back in school. We all know that. But I have diabetes and I'm high risk. I sacrifice a lot for my students, but I don't want to die.
I am the narrator for Joseph and the Amazing Technicolor Dreamcoat. I never could have imagined doing a play while I was teaching. It's not that I didn't have the time, I just didn't have the energy. I now have the emotional space to do what I truly love, which is to act. My day job is for an employment company on issues of teacher retention. Isn't that ironic?
I still wear my ring, but now I'm actually married to a man named Marcus. I was still cautious. People assumed, but didn't ask, and I didn't offer anything up. I didn't display Marcus's picture on my desk. I confided in a few of my colleagues, but I always worried that it would make a difference to some people. I want my teaching to speak for itself.
This year, we're learning reading strategies for getting the lowest kids caught up. And 7, online learning.
For a while, I felt somewhat hopeless. I didn't know if I could or even wanted to go on. I decided I do. I want to continue teaching because I know I make a difference. I know I made a difference in Paulo's life regardless of the outcome.
I requested to be taken off the theater schedule. I have a full slate of language arts classes now. I just couldn't do it. I couldn't see something I love so much trivialized by a bunch of hooligans.
I retired. If somebody would have told me how amazing this would feel, I would have done it years ago.
I have been working with a therapist on body language, on the stress that I hold in my face. I went and got some contacts because I thought maybe my glasses were too severe. I try to smile more. The once-a-week massages help. I can't afford a therapist or a masseuse. Not on a teacher's salary. But what choice do I have?
Then the Supreme Court ruled that I can't be fired for being gay. I now display Marcus proudly on my desk.
There's this song by the Dixie Chicks. Actually, I think they changed their name recently to just the Chicks. Yeah, anyway, when they were still the Dixie Chicks, they had a song called Bitter End about who stuck with them and who abandoned them when they went through their whole ordeal. Do you remember that? When the lead singer said that she was ashamed of George Bush being from Texas. People that they thought were their friends, they suddenly weren't anymore. You get me?
Maybe the fact that I care and love them just isn't enough. Maybe they need to see me at the, what do you call them? Protests, rallies? I don't know, maybe it doesn't matter. I can say I care, but am I willing to do anything about it? Am I willing to take a stand against the injustices that my students face every single day?
I guess I just wasn't meant to be a teacher. Some people have it, some people don't. I can't be called a bitch every day and keep on smiling. People say that anyone can be a teacher, but you really have to have that something, that spark. When I realized that teaching wasn't for me, I felt relieved, free.
We have a 5-year-old and a 2-year-old adopted. Our 5-year-old is starting kindergarten this year. I'm hoping to have him in my class in another year. My son told me the other day, Daddy, I want to be a teacher just like you. I was flattered. I really was. It's stupid, I know. I mean, he's 5. He'll probably change his mind 20 times before he graduates from college. But my heart sank a little when he said that.
I have my Wonder Woman costume all ready for Halloween.
The parents are different nowadays. They just are. When I was growing up, my parents would have taken a belt to my behind if I'd disrupted a class or sloughed a class or talked to the teacher the way. I can only do so much. We can only do so much with what we're given. The apple doesn't fall far. We take what we get, the good, the bad, the ugly. Not that the kids are ugly, but their attitudes often are.
I met with the lawyer to write a will, just in case.
People ask me all the time, do I miss it? Do I miss the kids? Yeah, I miss the kids. But I don't miss the paperwork, the meetings, the bureaucracy. I became a sub. You want to know the best feeling in the world? It's when you get a call from the school asking to take on a job and being able to say no. I get to say no. Teachers never get to say no, but I can. And then I get to roll over in bed next to my lovely wife.
I'm trying to speak up a bit more. I really am. It's hard, especially when you're not sure anyone cares.
I've sat in my ivory tower. I clicked my tongue at what I saw as inequities. Meanwhile, Paulo's mom worked 2 jobs to take care of her family. She looked over her shoulder every step of the way, fearful that she might be deported, just trying to make a better life for her family. While I stayed in the comfort of my classroom, Paulo faced people and systems that didn't believe in him. He already had 2.5 strikes against him anytime he went into any public space. Were his pants too low? His hat wasn't on straight enough. Those pictures are those gang affiliations. Does he smell like marijuana? I'm here today for Paulo and for all others, past and future.
Thank you for coming to Teach Your Truths, presented by Wasatch Theater Company. If you'd like, you can turn on your camera and cheer and clap for the audience.
Coming. Thank you so much for coming. Thank you.
Great job.
Thank you so much for being here. This was an amazing experience. Thank you.
Thank you, everyone, for taking the time.
You were all amazing.
Come to our show.
Thank you so much.
Thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you.
Thank you for taking
everyone.
time out of your Sunday. Thanks all.
I really enjoyed it.
Thanks, everybody. Thank you so much for coming.
Thank you all for
Thank
coming.
you.
Thank you so much.
Thank you so much for coming, everyone. Thank you.
Thank you. Great show, everyone. Thank you for coming.
Aw.
We are going to do a talk back today. If you would like to stay with us, we're going to start. We're taking like a 3-minute break to let our actors take a break if they need, and we'll come back and do a talk back. And actually, if you'd like to stay, you can. If not, then have a great Sunday and a great, great, great show.
Thank you.
All right. Hello, everyone. Great show. Great show. It went super well. Good job uncovering and picking up for each other on some of our minor technical things. They stayed minor because you guys really covered and made it work and kept going. So that's great. Do we have any? And Jim's here. Hi, Jim. Thanks for joining us, and we've gotten such great feedback on the show. We've just gotten so many teachers and so many people who've really appreciated the truthfulness and what the tea without shade, is that what Mike said today? Like the honesty without like blame that this show brings. So thanks so much for that. I don't know if we have some audience members here who want to chat, but we have some cast members. We have Megan, our stage manager. I'm Mindy Curtis. I am the director, and Jim Martin here, who is our playwright. So if we have anyone who would like to talk from the cast, or Jim or Megan, or any audience members who would like to share anything or ask any questions, now is an open forum time for people to share their thoughts or questions or discuss the play. Maybe Jim, maybe since you're here, if you maybe just give us some thoughts in what you might be thinking now that you've seen the show and you've seen actors portray the audience or the characters that you wrote with an audience and it come to life? What are your thoughts? What's going through your head as you see the show or watch the show or experience it?
Well, I watched it again last night. I saw it for the first time on opening night, and I felt like it had grown even in a week. And it's just very rewarding to see the things that you've written come to life. And I think that, yeah, this was kind of a labor of love for me, because I decided to write about my career and my, life passion, which is education. And so I really have appreciated seeing it take shape this way.
Thank you. Thanks for writing it. And we've had a few thoughts and questions from educators, and we just had our someone in our audience ask your plans for what to do with the show from here on out. We've heard from lots of different people that they'd really love to make it available to educators or get it more widespread to educators and start a discussion on education. And I particularly read your play right now in the beginning because I think it's really important, the purpose of what you said in it, which is that we need to realize the ins and outs and truths and ugliness and beauty, as well as of teaching, to start to meet the needs of all teachers and all students. Do you have thoughts or plans for what you'd like to do with this script moving forward?
Well, my intended audience, and when I wrote this, I had teachers in mind and educators in mind, because my goal was to see them, to hope that this could start a conversation. So I was a coach last year, an instructional coach. I've been an administrator, and my big focus in those roles has been capacity building and professional growth, and seeing people continue to get better. All of us continue to get better at what we do. And so I was hoping that this could be a vehicle for that people who saw the play could have conversations that would help generate some professional dialogue around professional growth. And then also, I hope that, my hope is that it can be used as a way to do some professional learning in schools. So my plan for this is that I'm hoping to self-publish it through Amazon, the play, and then I also have been working on a version of the play that has professional learning notes in between each of the scenes. I think each of the scenes speaks to some things that I particularly wanted to emphasize, like the Gloria scene, for example. In my head is all about psychological safety and a person's ability to kind of bring themselves to work. And so I think that's a great thing to have a conversation about, is how can we work together to create an environment where it's psychologically safe for people to have their opinions and share their ideas, and to not be afraid. So yeah, those are my hopes. And then I think we filmed this, so I'd like to be able to make it available to people that way, even beyond this particular live production.
We did, and we are actually filming this talkback as well. We're filming this today, so that will be wonderful. Cool. Any other thoughts or things? Thank you for your question from the audience on our chat. If you want to chat any questions, you can as well. Any other thoughts or questions? Or I know a few different people talked about that from the cast, or from things that you heard from audience members as they've come to you on feedback from the show, especially in distributing to teachers, or the impacts it's had on teachers. Thoughts from the audience or from cast members on that topic? there's always extra wait time on Zoom. So I just want to make sure everyone has the opportunity to say anything they want. Okay, perfect. Is there any other things or topics that people wanted to bring up and say to Jim, or to ask Jim, or to ask the cast members, or myself or Megan?
There's a question in the chat.
Oh, there
Yeah,
is.
there's a
Okay.
question, yeah.
How did the cast research their roles? So is any of one of the cast members want to fill that? Daniel.
So one of the things that I did to research this role is both my parents are teachers, so I talked to them, and I think that it was like one of the best just like lessons from the show for me is just like giving somebody the opportunity to talk to you and to share their personal individual story. The play is important, but it was also, for me, that was like the biggest takeaway from it, was actually getting to hear people open up about stuff. And it also helped me research my role, which was really great. Thanks for the question, Hope.
That's a great question. Any other actors want to jump in with their process or thoughts on preparing for your role?
There's not really a great way to approach researching from the perspective of a teacher who loses a student, especially in a way that Kat did, where she's seeing her student shot on social media again and again and again. But I was actually able to pull from some of my own experience to a degree as a teacher. I taught littles, so ages 3 to 6, and anytime they even were minorly injured and their parents told me, like, oh yeah, so my child has like a twisted ankle today, so they're just gonna be sitting down in class, and I, like, even that small of an injury like devastated me, because I'm like, oh my gosh, how could I have better prepared my students for being children and not rolling their ankles. And so just the reality of heightening it to the level of not just an injury, but a death, and such a violent, unnecessary death, was a ride and very difficult, but it made me a lot more sensitive to the kinds of things that we are sharing and seeing on social media. So yeah. There you go.
Thanks for sharing that. Anyone else want to jump in? I know everyone has a different process. I know some people have experience. Samantha, did I see or treat?
So
Okay.
I found that like the first line that it's a good kind of exhaustion. I'm coming back tomorrow. I may be exhausted today, but I'm going to come back and teach tomorrow. And when I talk to teachers, they had stories too, but it was, they're going back. It was definitely something they still wanted to do. I think they just still had the children in mind, and that's really what originated on the field that they chose. So that was one thing that I noticed too, is they were willing to go back.
Samantha, you had a thought as well.
Yeah, so it was just, I remember I told you this, Mindy, when I first read the script and was like looking at the scenes. Gloria was probably the character that I just like related to the most, and that I just felt like, man, that would be so hard. And my mom, she worked at a preschool for like 8 years. She was a teacher aide. And she did tell me about how like she really loved her job and she loved the kids, but sometimes it would get really difficult. Sometimes there were kids with behavioral challenges. She told me so many stories about like trying to handle kids that had behavioral challenges, and how sometimes she would just be so exhausted and so exasperated, and she felt like people weren't giving her the support she needed. And so I felt like that just translated really well into Gloria's story, because like she, it's essentially the same story. It's just that she's a 4th grade teacher. And I mean, I also worked as a tutor at a high school for 2 years, and also like a teacher aide. It was kind of like tutor/teacher aide is kind of what I would do. And I as such, I didn't really have to deal too much with like, you know, it's not like I was in charge of a classroom and had to do this, but like I remember one time that the teacher had to be out for like 10 minutes and she just asked me to kind of like go over the lesson plan, like just a couple little things that she wanted the kids to do, and they wouldn't listen to me, and I had no idea what I was doing, and I just couldn't, like, I was thinking, wow, how would it be to be a teacher who is trying her hardest and is just feeling not supported and can't even tell anyone that she's not feeling supported, because then people are going to think that she is not doing her job to the fullest extent. So that's basically kind of where like my research for Gloria came in and how all of that came together.
Yeah, thanks for that question. That's a really great question. I am just my thoughts as a director, as we have some of the actors in the show have some experience as educators themselves, and some have family members who are educators, and I think that I know it's a little bit of a line in the beginning where one of the teachers says, Will's teacher says, that we all have a teacher. It's like 6 degrees of teachers, and we all have some experience and a story of teaching on our own. And I know that as a director, when I was casting the show and selecting actors to be in the show, the people that I was drawn to and that I was looking for were people who I wanted to listen to, and who had something that I was interested and intrigued in what they had to say, and they weren't acting or performing for me. They were just speaking truthfully about their experiences, and that was interesting and engaging and drew me to them. So I think we all have a place to start from that as well. So that's a really good question. Thank you. Awesome. Any other thoughts on that, or any other questions out there, or thoughts or insights people want to address either in the chat, or you could jump in and ask? All right, I'm giving extra wait time, extra Zoom wait time. All right, well, thanks everyone so much. I just want to end with some thoughts. I just am so grateful that so many educators came to the show. I'm so grateful that Jim had the insight and forethought to write this production. I've thought for a long time there needed to be shows about education and what happens in schools, in the classrooms, but I thought for a long time, no one wants to really see a show about teaching. No one wants to see the backstage of what this is. But Jim did it in such a brilliant way, and such an insightful way, and an honest and real way that needed to be heard. So I've been kind of waiting for the show for a while, I think. So thanks so much for letting me be a part of it, and thanks to the cast to bring their honest, truthful selves to it, and positivity, and I'm really glad that Jim, thanks for letting us experiment doing it on online and on Zoom. And I know it isn't the perfect medium, but I think it really speaks to where educators are at this year. And I think the imperfection of it actually is perfect in its imperfection for what it is. So thank you for that as well.
I agree, and that was really smart of you to make that decision, because there's no way we could have done it live right now. You know, I mean, like,
weekend, right?
cases are on the rise, and it's crazy. So yeah, no, this is great. So.
All right. Well, thank you, audience members. Any last thoughts before we jump off?
Oh, and I just want to say one more thing. The virtual experience was really awesome, because we got to work with people that we might not have been able to work with otherwise. Like, we got some people from out of state. So that was really exciting. And I just could not be more pleased with the outcome. I think that now this is going to permanently be in my head as to the way that this show should look, because it was done this way the first time. So thank you.
Yes, and because we have actors as well from out of state who were so glad to have their insight and thoughts. I just realized, I think, Kirsten, your character calls sloughing. ditching class laughing. And I don't know if anyone else out of Utah has ever heard that term. People out of state were probably like, what is she talking about? But that's really, really awesome. It's so been great to have audience members and actors from everywhere. Kayla, did you have a comment?
Oh yeah, I was gonna say something. I kind of get a little bit nervous during the talkbacks, but I think just being a part of the show, just cast and team, has been a really like great experience as far as just like diving into this work and it being in Zoom, and like this has been my first Zoom play, and it just like being like a nice bit of a nice bite to do it in, and like I think the medium really works for the show. And what you said, like it relates to all the things that teachers juggle in every aspect. So I just wanted to say thanks for like Jim writing the show, Mindy directing, Megan on the SM board. So yeah, thanks so much.
Thanks to you. Thank you to you. It's really come to life, and it's been an important piece of art. So, and it's
I gotta
needed right
say,
now.
real quick, like with Jim's writing, I've been watching Peanuts for years, and it's so refreshing to finally be able to understand what the teachers are saying and to be able to express that.
Now you know it. That wah 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 wah.
Exactly.
It's all a bunch of acronyms. That's what it is. Awesome. All right. Fabulous. Any other last thoughts or people want to jump in before we head out today? Thank you to everyone. Thank you to Wasatch Theater Company. Thank you to Jim Martin. Thank you to our cast from here and from all over. Thank you to Megan Bishop, who is our technical director and stage manager. Thank you to our audience members, because there's no theater without our audience, and for taking a risk of logging in online to see an online production. Thank you to you, and thank you for your comments. And we'll try to keep this show alive and moving forward. Jim, I'd love to be a part of it as you move forward and continue to disseminate this really wonderful piece of art for our whole country and for educators as well. So, all right, everyone, thank you so much.
Thank you, Mindy. See ya.
Thanks, Mindy.
Y'all.
Thanks, Jim.
Thank you, guys.
Thanks,
you.
Mindy.
Yeah,
Thanks,
you
Megan.
guys, great job.
Thank you.
Thanks, Jim.
Thank you, Megan.
Thank you for keeping this whole thing together.
Oh, thank you all. Really, really thank you all.
Yeah, thanks everybody. All of you.
This really was an amazing experience. I'm so happy to be able to be a part of this and to be able to work with all of you. This has been amazing. Thank you.
Same. Oh, same.
It's been great.
Yes, it has, yeah. Thanks, Wilson. I enjoyed working with you, Mr. Thompson.
Loved it.
Someday maybe the cast will be able to come together.
One day, I
Yeah.
will.
Yes.
It really does. It needs to be in the plans. We had a great cast party for those who came last night.
Oh, how was that?
Nobody said anything about an imposter. I'm so
It was okay.
Kayla, the whole
The
time I was like
imposter.
making all the imposter jokes along with the script that we made last night. Oh my gosh.
We played Among Us through Zoom, and it was a really fun experience. So we'll have to figure out how to continue to stay connected, and my kids want to play Among Us, so I'll like put it out there on the text if anyone wants to jump in. I'll be like, here's a code.
So fun.
Yes.
Jump in, and we'll jump online. Here's a link, and we'll get together and complete the tasks, which I'm getting better at. Zach was like, how did nobody ever complete the test? How did nobody win? I was like, it was me. I could not complete. Sorry, I'll get better.
Mackenzie, what time did you guys stay up until last night? Your time, I guess.
Like 12:30.
Oh, okay.
So really not bad
So just
like,
after we left.
at all.
Okay.
But yeah, it was good times.
Oh yeah.
All right. Well, thank you everyone for this wonderful production. I find that, Jim, of doing online shows, it's actually all pretty great until like now. It's like Okay, bye.
Now you just leave.
It's like,
It's
it's
just
like-
bye.
it's like- that's like the weirdest part that I haven't been able to like figure out yet. Is
So
like
you say goodbye first. No.
and it was like you say
No, you say
No, you say
No,
it.
you
No,
quickly.
you.
And we're like, okay, good night. And we're like, right? Like, yeah, okay, so it's gonna, okay, bye. Like,
Yeah, especially with this, it's like
Especially
you
today.
leave this meeting and that's it. You know, there's no stage breakdown, there's no final goodbyes, there's no
No
And you're
strike.
all-
I'm sure
you're
you're
all-
really
Whatever, I
sad
have to
about
stay
that.
tonight.
Say, no strike.
you know,
the strikes
There's
are
a-
the most.
there's a bit of
Murder
catharsis
you
with
in the
that, you know?
administrator room.
No, you're right. Well, there is 100% catharsis with the strike and with the whole like ending process.
Everyone just fold your costume and put it in the laundry and wash it and clean up your room and do your own little strike.
Find somewhere for my ring light to live.
Give my ring back to my mom. Like,
Oh, well, we still have our text, so I'll every so often I'll throw on a waiting for Guffman gif for you guys, and
And we should play Among Us every once in a
yeah,
while.
like, throw us some emails. We all have that email. We'll just say, hey, does anyone want to get on, or on the text, does anyone play Among Us, and we could jump on a Zoom and we'll play. It'll be fun.
Sounds like fun.
Yeah, and when the world
And-
opens up for traveling again, and we'll say hello one day.
Just wanted to let you know that logistically, your checks will be mailed within the next month. So look for those sometime in the next
Oh, I
month.
never got the contract.
Oh, really? Okay. Well, I will send it to you. But yeah, because I need your address on there. So
I need
No
to give you
contract,
that
no
too.
check.
If you don't mind,
What's
just
that?
were they individual, Jim? Were they individually with people's names on it, or was there like an actor one and a?
There was an actor one. There
Okay.
was a director one.
So if there's
yeah,
a generic
so-
actor one, maybe if you could send it like
Yeah,
one.
got the wrong-
Mm-hmm.
Sure
That'd be
thing.
great.
Yeah, I'll send it today.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you so much, and thanks, Jim, for making this all happen. It's all because of you.
Yes.
Thank you. That was awesome. Really proud of you.
All right.
Thank you.
Okay. Thanks,
Nice
everyone.
work.
That for Jim.
Dabbing for Paulo.
Bye.
All right. Take care, everybody. Stay safe.
Bye, everybody.
Oh, mwah.
Y'all have
Bye.
social medias. I'll follow.
Have a great rest of your day.
Yes. Yeah, we'll find each other.
Yeah, on the
social media.
socials.
Yes.
Guys, thank
Love you all.
Love you. God bless.
Yeah.
I got the last dab.
We need to. Should we?
You
I'm
won.
Okay. I just kicked out Paul. Whoever. I don't know who he was. He was
We
there
can
for
stop
our
the
last- like.
recording.
Okay, and I just stopped the recording. Okay, stop. Yeah.